Okay, this is going to be a demonstration over the hand stitching technique called the whip stitch. The whip stitch is a variation of the overhand stitch, so if you've ever heard of that or if you've read that in your textbook, that's what it is. The overhand stitch is used to top sew two finished edges. So if you have like you're done with your edges, so you've already finished them, you've completed an edge finish to them, and then you're going to attach them. One example might be like if you're going to attach lace to an edge or ribbon to an edge of a garment, you would use the overhand stitch, and you might use that for future projects or just some home embellishment projects. So first thing that we're going to do, we have two pieces here, and what I did was I marked 1 inch down, and then I folded this edge back towards the wrong side and pressed that, and I did that for both pieces. So you're going to want to do that first, and then you're just going to layer them on top of each other, matching up those folded edges. And again, I'm going to go ahead and put some pins in just because I think it helps me to keep everything stabilized. So if you want to do that, I'd highly recommend that too. Again, we're just going to be using a 1 thread thickness on our hand sewing needle, so go ahead and get that ready and make sure that it has a knot on the end. Now we're going to work again like me. I'm going to work from right to left. I think we've been working in that direction since I'm right-handed, from right to left, and again if you're left-handed, from left to right. And what we're going to do is we're first going to insert our needle on the back edge and then pull it to the front, keeping it as close as we can to this folded edge, about 1/8 of an inch away. So I'm just going to poke that through and then pull my thread through so that I'm knotted here. And then what I'm going to do is we're going from the back of the thread to the front, and we want to try to keep our stitch as close as we can, about 1/8 of an inch away from this folded edge line here. And so then I'm just going to come from the back. I'm just going to move it over about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch, and then just take another little, I'm just going to take another little bite to grab that fabric and move my needle over 1/8 of an inch, and I'm in from this folded edge again about 1/8 of an inch. So we're just making little whips around the edge. And you want to make sure that you don't accidentally get your thread caught and you're doing a more type of a blanket stitch. And as you can see, it's just wrapping around that folded edge together. So I'm just slowly going to be working my way over, just moving 1/8 of an inch over at a time. And you're going from the back to the front, trying to keep those threads straight to a slight diagonal as you go. The closer you can get to that folded line, the better. I feel like my folded edge was kind of slipping a little bit, and so they weren't being kept even. Remove that pin. And if you have any questions about where that 1/8 of an inch is, I would recommend pulling out your ruler, identifying that 1/8 of an inch on there, or even using your seam gauge. That might help. Alright, now I'm not going to like put you guys through torture and just like have me watch me do this for the next, I don't know, 5 minutes or however long it takes. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. But what you're doing is you're just going to continue this motion all the way down the end and then tie a knot at it. And then just make sure that you label and put it in your binder and you're good to go. So that's your whip stitch.